Hello and welcome to WashU Olin's Big Idea Bounce, powered by Poets and Quants. My name is Mike Mazzio and I'm the Dean of WashU Olin Business School. I'm thrilled to team up with Poets and Quants for the third annual Big Idea Bounce pitch competition. This is my first year as Dean at WashU Olin, and I'm really looking forward to experiencing this exciting competition. Fostering an entrepreneurial spirit is one of our 4 pillars of excellence here at WashU Olin. I'm proud to say that our MBA program has ranked #1 for entrepreneurship by Poets and Quants for the past 5 years. Entrepreneurship guides our curriculum, it centers our career services, and it motivates the school and our students to innovate. We know that it's not only startups that need entrepreneurial thinking. Established firms, nonprofits, and NGOs need an entrepreneurial spirit to open new markets, serve more people, create new products and services, confront new challenges, and embrace new technology. At WashU Olin, we carefully infuse entrepreneurship into our curriculum to produce the next generation of innovative leaders. Like all great startup ideas, this pitch competition starts with the desire to solve customers' problems. That's because businesses exist to improve people's lives by solving their problems for their customers. I'm excited to see such robust entrepreneurial spirit on display in today's competition. Each of our 3 teams features innovative and dynamic leaders pushing the boundaries of what entrepreneurship is and what it can be. I wish each team the best of luck and may the best idea win. Before we get started, I want to turn it over to John Byrne, CEO of Poets and Quants, who is also one of the judges for today's competition.
Thanks, Mike. I'm very excited to be back co-hosting the 3rd annual WashU Olin Big Idea Bounce competition. We had another great year with many great ideas flowing in. In fact, we saw about 120 submissions from around the world, representing over 65 universities. We received entries from 14 countries, from Bangladesh to the United States. Many other entries came in from many different countries, Malaysia, India, Spain, and others. Narrowing down those top submissions was no easy task. We narrowed it down from 120 to 14. Those 14 finalists were featured in an article in Poets and Quants. The public was allowed to vote on their favorite idea. The team with the most votes is crowned the Big Idea Bounce Choice Award winner and receives $1,000. Let's hear from this year's winner.
Hi everyone, my name is Anastasia Fomenko and I'm the founder of Alcove. I want to first of all say a huge thank you for this incredible opportunity as part of the Big Idea Bounce pitch competition. I'm just so incredibly grateful for it. Thank you so much also to everybody that took time out of their day to vote for me and support for me. It means the world to have such an amazing community of supporters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alcove's on a mission to bring a greener future, and so this is just one step closer to doing that. So thank you so much again for everybody's support.
It's impressive to see that our next generation of entrepreneurs is so ambitious and innovative. We're in very good hands. I'm looking forward to hearing the team's final pitches today, and I'm excited to see who will walk away with $50,000. What a difference that will make to the team that wins it. All right, we're just moments away from watching the teams pitch their ideas, but before we get started, I want to introduce WashU Olin's Academic Director for Entrepreneurship, Doug Vilhart. Doug has been quite instrumental in planning the competition. Not only has he provided a wealth of knowledge about what VCs and judges look for in competitions like these, but he's also been the coach for each team in competition today. Doug, over to you.
Before we begin, I'd like to formally introduce our judges. They bring an amazing background of innovation and successful startup prowess. You just heard from our first judge, John Byrne. After serving as editor-in-chief of Bloomberg Businessweek and Fast Company, John went on to found and lead Poets and Quants. Our second judge is Maxine Clark, founder of Build-A-Bear Workshop. Her company, which just celebrated its 25th anniversary, has nearly 500 global retail locations, and customers have created 250 million furry friends. You may have seen our third judge on Shark Tank. Akeem Shannon is the founder and CEO of Flipstick. He leverages NASA technology, allowing you to mount your phone anywhere to create or consume content hands-free. Each team will be scored in 9 areas: solution, traction, team, market, competition, value creation, prize use, overall presentation, and most importantly, the problem they are solving for customers. The third place team will win $2,000, the second place team will win $5,000, and the first place team will win the grand prize of $50,000. All right, let's get the show started. Up first, we have Meet Your Class from the University of Michigan. Let's learn more about them.
We are Team Meet Your Class from the University of Michigan.
There's 2 sides to the business. For one, we have what we call a social media system for students. We set up communities for a given college on all of the largest social networks, and we make groups for incoming students to meet each other. Going forward, we're trying to work directly with universities and make it a tool to help them stay in business. So we're trying to work with enrollment departments.
I think really just our ability to execute on top of this just being a really pressing and important issue is why we will hopefully win the competition. So super excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Jonah, joined by Blake and John, and we co-founded Meet Your Class. We have helped nearly 300,000 students meet, and now we're poised to help universities stay in business. Higher education is facing a seismic shift. There are less college-age students, the majority of Americans no longer think college is worth it, public funding for state institutions is dropping, and nowadays you can learn just about anything online. As such, 2/3 of university CFOs are concerned about their ability to fill seats. Unfortunately, university recruitment and retention efforts are often disconnected from newer generational trends. Since schools are competing for less students, they need to cast a wide net, while at the same time still allocating their limited resources towards students who are likely to convert. And for that, Meet Your Class offers a first-of-its-kind solution. For a given university, the Meet Your Class platform automatically creates and manages student-to-student communities across the largest social networks. Students get a Gen Z-friendly way to meet each other and find resources on the platforms they already use on a daily basis. And universities are no longer disconnected from their current or prospective students. And this can help fill seats throughout the enrollment funnel. When it comes to driving applications, our social channels historically reach around 35 times the size of an incoming class. And then when the university needs to round out their class, we're able to help them identify students who are likely to matriculate, build up a lot of excitement for college, and also just lay the seeds for a great college experience.
Meet Your Class was launched by 4 sophomores from the University of Michigan just over a year and a half ago, and since then, we've already grown to a presence at 900 different colleges. Matter of fact, since we submitted our video for the semifinals, we've added our second letter of intent with the university and another 65,000 users to our platform, inching us closer to the 300,000 total account creation mark. In total, we've generated over $270,000 in revenue through a B2C business model, are listed as one of Poets Quants' most disruptive business school startups this year, and are venture capital backed by Techstars, a top global accelerator. With this growth, we built a team with the necessary skill set to handle the scale, including full-time designers, developers, community management, and 48 college ambassadors across the country. In all, we have the support system necessary to go far. But to wrap it up, thank you all so much. Really excited and grateful to be here in St. Louis, and are now more than happy to answer any questions.
So how does it differ from just a private group on Facebook, really? And doesn't that serve the need?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. So currently the space is fairly fragmented into kind of 2 main groups. On one end, you have your kind of incumbent social medias like Facebook that you mentioned, And students have become accustomed to using these platforms, but at the end of the day, they're just not optimized for making meaningful connection. There's a reason we stopped calling these platforms social networks and now call them social media. And on the flip side of that, platforms were never built to be used as university enrollment management tools. And so then you also have these second group of these third-party platforms that were purpose-built for universities, but really fail to meaningfully engage students. So we've kind of come into this space as a first of its kind platform to really bridge these gaps by organically engaging students where they already are, and then providing them the optimized tools to make meaningful connection. And since we engage students in that way, we're able to help universities reach them earlier in the enrollment funnel than they ever really could by using any of these other platforms.
Did some of the kids do this before they even apply? Like how far in the process do the students have to be before they come to your platform?
I mean, really what we see is students are using social media as their search engines nowadays.
Right.
So students are looking up these institutions, and universities need to have a presence on these platforms because, we've mentioned, a lot of these communities, they reach 35 times the incoming class. There's a lot of eyeballs that universities aren't tapping into. And so Meet Your Class, since we have all of this social media ecosystem is what we call it, we're able to reach students earlier, and we see that people are coming to our platform that are just applying or prospective students.
So they can do this as early as they want. They can look up their class, join, and start to get a feel for the university. They don't have to have already applied or anything like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
How do you prove the model is working to the university, and what's the financial model?
We're able to monetize off of advertising, premium functionality on our website, and that's what generated us the $270,000. But as we kind of break that down, that's around $1.25 per student, which is it's a profitable business when it was just us 4 co-founders, but ultimately we see a lot more potential in higher education. So as we're expanding, they are valued more at $25 per incoming student. So that's a large jump from the $1.25 per student that we're seeing, and ultimately that's not even tying it into enrollment metrics. There's a huge enrollment leak that's happening because of these declining enrollments. Beyond just the shareholder value and more sustainability, we believe that the higher ed business will be in the long run since it's recurring annual contracts. We just think higher ed as a whole provides a lot of value to society. And it's our job to be going to these campuses and talking and knocking on doors. We've done that across the country, and at other schools where they've shut down, like some schools provide tens of millions of dollars into the local economy at cities because of students interacting. And for that specific school in the other state, it provided $100 million to the state's economy. So there's a large gap here that we're really excited to help fill all that leak and help bolster enrollment to keep the universities in business.
So how do you prove to the university that it's worth it? What are the KPIs you're using to say, this is what we did for you, this is working?
So we're starting out by just selling it to universities as a student engagement app. It's a slightly smaller market, but that's what we've already have a proven model for because we already are a student engagement app at over 900 schools. So tons of students use us. And then we're going to build up case studies. And the way they tie it is they basically look at the students who used your platform versus buckets of students who didn't use it during a trial period. And then they look at the different matriculation rates. We're very confident in our ability to help bolster them. But of course, we've only been around for a year and a half, and those metrics take a while to test.
What are you going to do with the money?
Yeah,
if you win?
That's a very fitting question. We originally said we were going to use that $50,000 to double our ambassador program. But as a startup, things change, need to be able to adapt. We've gotten a lot more traction on the B2B side of our business. So between the 2 letter of intents that we need to carry out and other schools that we have in the pipeline, really that $50,000 will be split into 2 main buckets. The first being legal, where $20,000 will be allocated. And so that's the structuring of contracts, FERPA compliance, upgrading our insurance policy. And then the second bucket being onboarding. So getting integrated in the university systems, universities integrating with us, compliance with IT, and slight product development that needs to happen based on these letter of intents. But honestly, the most exciting part about this, John, is this $50,000 will directly be an investment and give us $70,000 in year 1 revenue, $30,000 of which will be recurring on an annual basis. And bigger picture, as Jonah mentioned, case studies are really important in the higher education market. So this will be early adopters that we can then use those case studies to further break into higher ed.
As you mentioned, some of these schools are shutting down. Do these schools even deserve to be saved by this? Like, why can't kids just go and start a business from YouTube University? Like, are you investing into a market that's shrinking too fast? You're trying to catch a falling knife.
I would say regardless, the higher education market's still very large and growing. It's at a 12.2% CAGR over the next 7 years. And it's still very valuable. As Blake mentioned, we touched on all of the value adds for the university. There's unfortunately just a very large value leak. A lot of schools are going out of business because they're competing for less students. So like after the 07, 08 recession, people had less kids. And now there's all of these schools that grew a lot during the period before when we had a population boom, and they're competing for less students. So some of them just inevitably do have to go out of business, but it's not that there's less demand on the student front. It's still a growing market.
Maybe I'm not totally understanding it, although I think potentially this is a really interesting idea for connectivity, for students to connect with each other and universities to connect with the students. But I'm applying to the University of Georgia, and I'm a junior in high school, and I'm just starting to look at University of Georgia, and I want to know like what tuition is, or I want to know what something else is. Where do you pick me up, and then what happens to me after that first inquiry? How do I know I've connected to something bigger than me?
To explain the user flow a bit, so people will usually find us on social media. They'll see these communities of incoming students, and then in order to join it, they have to go on the Meet Your Class platform and get authenticated, like verify you're a real person and that you actually have some affiliation with this university. And then from there, you get on our platform, proprietary technology that makes it very easy to find people and resources, and just pops out everyone. And then you can start interacting with them and become immersed in that college's experience. And then you can also ask all of your questions, and this whole array of students or ambassadors, if we're working with the school, can be there to answer the questions. At the end of the day, the reason that our platform is so valuable relative to every other system universities have is because it's one and the same with all of the social medias that students already use on a daily basis. You're still part of the Instagrams, Facebooks, TikToks, Discords, GroupMe's, X/Twitters of the world. We don't try to compete against them. We work with the university and we make it all under one hood.
All right, thanks everybody. That's all the time that we had. Good job. You're welcome to shake the judges' hands, and then we'll meet back in that room.
All right.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
How's it feel to be finished?
Amazing.
Very amazing. Yeah, it feels very good.
And so, did you cover everything you wanted to cover? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'd say we covered all the content we wanted to.
And what was the experience like?
I mean, it's been great. I've been really soaking it up. I got lost in the hotel last night, so I was just exploring, the campus, and it's just been amazing. So really grateful to be here. So thank you for inviting us, University of Michigan folk. But
yeah, our pleasure.
amazing.
And you come into the room and there's cameras and lights and all of that. Like what were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, like it's a little overwhelming at first, but I think we practiced for a lot last night. We were well prepared. Blake called me at 12 in the morning last night to woke me up to try and run me through some questions. So I think we're more prepared than we even needed to be.
Yeah,
so.
well, very good. Well, you guys did a fantastic job, and
Thank you.
You're going to make it tough on the judges. So we're going to see what happens.
That's
Thanks.
our goal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Next, we have Sustainaplate from Washington University in St. Louis. Let's learn more.
We are Sustainaplate, and we are from WashU Olin's Business School and the Kelby School of Engineering.
I came up with the idea for Sustainaplate last spring when I realized I was getting food and just leaving it in the fridge and then it would go bad. And so I knew I had to do something about that. There are tons of mitigation efforts. And so it first started as a composting idea, but it's quickly morphed into a food traceability system for the entire food supply chain. So we are incredibly excited to be one of the top 3 teams in the Poets Quants Big Idea Bounce. If we were to win the $50,000 in prize money, we would put a lot of that to the pilot program costs and R&D efforts for Sustainaplate. Hello judges, my name is Franklin, this is Kelsey, and that's Jason, and we are Sustainaplate. So judges, true or false, grocery stores track expiration dates? False. Yes, you're correct, false. And I know that's crazy, but from 50+ customer interviews, we discovered something. And that's that the entire food supply chain faces these same data management issues. CPG brands and manufacturers are unable to track product journeys, and distributors and stores struggle to manage expiration dates. And this causes 133 billion pounds of food waste and $161 billion in lost revenue yearly. But that's where Sustainaplate comes in. Our smart tracking solution brings traceability to the supply chain. By embedding smart tags onto food products, we're able to encode critical details such as expiration dates, lot numbers, and more into each item. This allows stakeholders across the supply chain to immediate access to data in order to make decisions on inventory management and reducing waste. Imagine a future where every item in the food supply chain narrates its own journey. With SustainaPlate, we make that vision a reality. Additionally, we're able to monitor and report on each product in the supply chain to send adequate notifications, such as impending expiration dates. This not only facilitates efficient markdowns and donations on food that's about to go bad, it significantly improves inventory management practices.
This lack of efficient data management affects nearly 300,000 food businesses in the U.S. alone. Through talking with stakeholders from places like Schnucks, Dierbergs, and other stores, we found that our early adopters are the farm-to-fork food businesses in the Midwest. That brings us to our traction. We currently have a pilot program with Vertigreens, a vertical farming company, where we're helping them to track the life cycle of their lettuce from seed to sale. We also have a verbal agreement with Dierbergs for a pilot program in the future, and 4 promising pilot prospects in the sales pipeline. We're super excited to use the information we receive from Vertigreens to improve our product for upcoming pilots.
Our team of WashU students brings a diverse skill set to solve the problem. Franklin with supply chain, Kelsey with grocery, Anna with sales, myself and Tanvi with software development. These experiences position us as the architect of change in food supply chain tracking. But why us? It is because the way we talk to our customer to make sure that we build a solution that not only works for them, but the entire food supply chain. So together, we bring traceability into food supply chain.
One tag at a time.
I've been in a lot of stores and a lot of products, and I'm always looking for that product that's got the longest time. You know, I'll move it. I'll go to the back of the row to get the product. Yeah. If it's tagged, not everything has an expiration date, although they probably could use it. So sometimes there's 4 different dates on the products. Like milk, they have milk they brought in every day, and so there's 2 or 3 different dates. How are you possibly going to keep track of that through the one tag that tells them? And how does it stay forward so that I see that product, that it hasn't been moved to the back by somebody like me?
That is a struggle right now, right? So each product has one UPC code. Essentially what we need to do is tag it in some other way. So we've been thinking of different ways how to do it. There's RFID tags, NFC tags, as well as we got a suggestion from a dairy farmer the other day. There's ink where it says the expiration date, right? If we're able to then encode a QR code or a barcode there that translates to our system, we're able to track it within the grocery store system as well. Now, you as the consumer will essentially just see either the expiration date here, or we also have what would be in the future, these essentially electronic barcodes in which you could see the different prices with the expiration dates. Now, you would still have to do some searching on the shelf to find those products, but you would know exactly what those prices are.
The idea for the farmer is great. You're tracking it all the way through the system, and it's good for supply chain. But for the consumer, I'm a consumer person. I'm interested in how does this help me buy faster? So I'm doing my share to use the products up properly so they don't get wasted in the.
I mean, my concern, I love it, right? Because I want to go in and buy the thing that's going to expire because I'm cooking today, so it's going to work for me. But my concern is if I pick up something that's getting ready to expire, I take it to the point of sale system. How are you tracking that it's moving out? Like, how does the store know what percentage on the shelf is getting ready to expire soon without sending labor through the store checking every single one of these? So how is that going to happen?
So that's actually what they do right now. They're
just walking up and down, checking every,
Yeah, they use something called the eye test. Essentially, they just check the expiration dates with their eyes. But to your question of how does it know at the POS machine, but that's where if we're able to tag it with an RFID tag or an NFC tag, which is essentially your tap to pay on your phone, it will have that radio signal that will say, hey, this will go out the door.
So I don't have to scan twice or anything?
No, you won't have to scan twice. It'll just, essentially it'll pass that and you'll know that it was sold.
Okay, so my real question is actually about your pricing. So like, how are you monetizing this? What's going to be the cost of the little QR, the RFID tag? Yeah. Who's paying that? Is it the supplier? Is it the store? How are you going to monetize this business?
Yeah, so what we've heard is that for the farmers and the small players, it would definitely be tough to get adoption. But what we are thinking about is having essentially tiered pricing for those different levels. So not only does it help them significantly with reducing food waste there, but it also then lessens the burden on the farms in terms of cost to put our tags on there as well.
So what will be the cost? Or are you not sure yet?
Oh, okay. So we aren't necessarily sure on each level. So this is an example of an enterprise customer where for our software, we're charging them $100,000 a year. And we're looking at, for each customer, having around $5,000 in COGS. If we're talking about smaller farms, we've landed on $20,000 for them. And then moving up to the larger enterprise customers, we're targeting a price of $100,000.
So I'm wondering, what incentive does a supplier have to pay this money to tag stuff when the savings presumably go to the retailer?
What happens at the retailer is that when products go bad, those brands have to pay the retailers. Now, it's not full cost, but they get some sort of voucher for the things that have gone bad. So the retailers are burdening that cost as well as the suppliers. So essentially the incentive for the supplier is to forecast better what their sales would actually be. And if they're able to do that, then they will essentially increase their profitability since they're not overproducing.
How tangible is the waste to a retailer? I mean, are they actually tracking what they're losing?
No, they are. One of the first interviews that we had with Chinooks, we asked the fish department how much food is wasted, how do they track expiration dates, and they actually get judged on pounds of food waste and then dollar value of the food waste going out. Every department knows exactly what that food waste is.
It's probably a huge opportunity to reduce that problem significantly and also give the customer a deal. Is every product in the store, from vegetables to fruits to milk to eggs and butter, all that have expiration dates? Cleaning supplies, I'm not even sure. I don't really pay that much attention.
Yeah, they all do have expiration dates. At the same time, the manufacturers are the ones that set those expiration dates. And then the only federally regulated expiration dates are baby food. But essentially everything has expiration dates, as well as pharmaceuticals.
But I mean, to me, it makes a lot of sense because, as you mentioned, this is a multi-billion-dollar like waste that's happening, and groceries operate on razor-thin margins. So as much as they can claw back, I mean, I see for the grocery store, it's a great idea. But I want to know, like, who in the space is your competition? Like, who is even trying to tackle this right now? How are you different?
Our biggest competitors in this are Trade Window, Mojix, and Avery Dennison that do something very similar. They do essentially tags that track things across the supply chain. I will say they have very bulky tags instead of either a fully software solution or really small tags. At the same time, there's AFresh and Self Engine, which are essentially forecasting softwares for perishable goods. And then Too Good To Go and Flash Foods, they take food that is about to go bad and essentially package it up into mystery boxes or put a fridge for the things that have gone bad maybe for a day, and then they sell those. What our biggest differentiation is that we are aiming to integrate seamlessly into the POS systems. That I have seen is the biggest hurdle. Really, the most value comes at the grocery store level. Of course, the suppliers and manufacturers and producers, they see it as well. But really, the waste is going at the end when it's one step from a consumer.
How are you going to use the prize if you win?
Yeah, definitely. With the $50,000 in prize money, we're very excited to use it for the pilot costs, R&D, and IP and legal. Pilot costs are going toward the tags and the printer that our partners would need getting started. R&D is for us to really test out everything. Jason has been doing a lot of the software development, and we've been having a lot of fun with that. And then, of course, with the IP around the method and process of what we're doing at Sustainably.
You know, I'm just thinking, if I'm a grocery store, this implementation and just keeping this up day to day seems very labor intensive. Are you guys the team to bring this into fruition and make it easy for the stores?
I would say the biggest thing that we can do is basically have it hands off for the stores. It will get rid of the invoicing. It will get rid of a lot of those manual tasks when the product comes into the door. If we're able to have this across the supply chain, it'll start right at the processing plant. The milk is packaged, the tag is put on, and you never really have to touch it again. You may have to scan it with a barcode, an RFID tag scanner, but that's essentially it. You'll have the entire information in the platform at every single point in the supply chain.
Okay, good job. We're out of time. You guys are welcome to say hi to the judges, and then I'll talk to you.
Thank you guys
Well
very
done.
much.
Thank you
Good
so
job.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
so much.
you.
Good job, Kelsey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, congratulations. You got through it. How's it feel?
Adrenaline's up, but it's exciting.
Yeah, and how do you think you did?
I think we did really well. I think Franklin did a great job answering the questions and just trying to address everything that he could, especially because we did kind of recently pivot. So this is our first time pitching this idea. So I think we did a really great job, especially in that regard.
Yeah, wonderful. And Franklin, all the prep for this, and you get under the lights, and the judges are there. Like, what's that experience like?
Yeah, it's definitely nerve-wracking, but it's a great opportunity, right? Like, we have some great judges out there that have some great ideas and gave us some great feedback. So overall, I would say it was an amazing experience, and I want to do something like this again.
Awesome, wonderful. Well, congratulations. Now we just got to sit tight and see who the big winner is. But good job today, guys.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Yep. And last but not least, we have ASL Aspire from the University of Illinois and WashU. Before we bring them out, let's learn a little bit more about them.
My name is Mona Jawad, and I'm the CEO of ASL Aspire.
Hi, my name is Aisha Kazi, and I'm the COO of ASL Aspire.
We started ASL Aspire because we both wanted to make educational opportunities better for deaf and hard of hearing children. We are so incredibly honored to be here among these amazing teams, and if we do get the opportunity to get the $50,000, we have right now a pending contract with NASA to make some astronomy modules for the Houston Space Center, which is incredibly exciting. So we would be using this funding to complete that project and to also reach 5 more schools this year. Did you catch that? She just signed, "We are ASL Aspire, and we increase access to STEM for people who are deaf and hard of hearing." Imagine yourself back in chemistry class, but this time around, there's a catch. You don't have access to any of the key vocabulary that you need to succeed. You start to feel anxious. All around you, your classmates are taking off in their learning, while you're left behind. Without these crucial words, you don't have even close to the same opportunity to succeed. Now, take a step back. Around the world, there's more than 400 million deaf learners who don't have access to STEM language. To put that in perspective, that's as if the entire population of the United States suddenly had no access to science or math terminology at all. This year, we visited more than 200 deaf students to hear their dreams. I want you to meet Aaliyah here. She told us that she wants to be a doctor when she grows up. But because she doesn't have the right tools, deaf students like her are 70 times less likely to pursue any kind of STEM career and much more likely to be unemployed instead. Our solution to that is ASL Aspire. It's a first-of-its-kind game-based platform that teaches STEM words to deaf students in American Sign Language. Student scores are sent to a teacher dashboard system where educators and parents can see exactly where their students are improving and underperforming. And because just knowing the signs isn't enough, we've created a way for students to practice the signs too. Our novel machine learning technology lets students validate their signs in front of the webcam, all as part of the games. So why would teachers choose us over the other ASL apps out there? Well, they've told us themselves that other ASL apps do exist, but they're mostly made for beginners, and they're not STEM focused. I'm a PhD student in speech and hearing science here at WashU, and I started this company because I wanted to help people like my brother, who was born with genetic hearing loss. Our CVO, Gabriel, and our 4 deaf scientists all experienced these exact barriers when they were growing up, but they became engineers, doctors, and professors anyway. They've united with our founding team to make this mission possible. So with these trailblazers, we've raised $150,000 to launch our beta to 200 students in 5 schools. And just recently, we started a collaboration with NASA to make ASL modules for their space exhibit. For kids like Aaliyah, ASL Aspire could change everything about the way they learn. Help us bring a brighter future to her and to the millions of kids just like her around the globe. Thank you.
This is a commendable idea. I love it. But it almost feels like a nonprofit idea. I mean, how do you really make money?
So we initially started off as a nonprofit. We found that we weren't able to participate in business competitions, we weren't able to apply to grants for our university, and we needed funding to get this going. And so that's why we pivoted to a profitable model. This is our model, $360 per student annually, and we're selling directly to administrators in the schools to make those margins.
And the schools have money to pay for this?
Yes. They have around $122 billion in special education funding from the federal government.
How many students with hearing loss actually attend public schools?
So about 75% of students who are deaf attend public schools, and then about 20% are going to be into like residential schools, and 5% are homeschooling.
And where in like their education journey do you see your app coming into place?
Yes, so we are going to be intervening from K through 12 because kids need vocabulary at every stage of their literacy development. Our main modules right now are focused on middle school because that's when STEM learning gets really tough and the kids need the extra support. But beginning to give them language exposure from a young age is going to really just accelerate their learning throughout the rest of their lives.
How much time is needed in teaching the teachers how to use this before you can teach the students how to use it?
Yes, so the dashboard is made with Teachers of the Deaf, and it's very similar to what they're usually using, which is Google Classroom, Canvas, and other platforms. So it's fairly easy for them to integrate it into their existing curriculum. We work with Teachers of the Deaf to make sure it's easily integratable in their current, day-to-day life.
So I'm trying to get my head around the market. Okay, you mentioned in your presentation that you have over 400 million people in the world who have disabilities related to hearing.
Right.
But how many of them really are interested in STEM education and would end up being doctors or engineers or scientists?
Yeah. 40 million Americans are deaf and hard of hearing, and only 0.15% are in STEM. So there's a big gap in terms of the STEM education field itself, and that's mainly because they're kept out of it because of the lack of resources.
So of that big market that you showed, the almost 500 million, how many are in that K to 12 space?
So that market is, everyone who can get impacted by this, that's all, 400 million deaf learners around the world. We are not only, targeting the deaf students, but also the hearing market. So that's not included in that TAM. About 1.7 billion people are in the K through 12 market, and that's the hearing population as well, which we will be addressing in our secondary market.
So, my question is, when I think of people in STEM, right, they need to know how to code, or they need to know how to do, experiments in the lab. What is the importance of this language here? Because a lot of that stuff's going to happen on the computer, right? They can just type it up, send an email. How does that translate to, the work that they'll be doing? And are they using this in their professional career? Like, talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So these deaf students, when they're learning American Sign Language or any other kind of sign language, it's a completely different language from English. So textbooks and things like that really just aren't going to be as helpful to them as seeing it in their language. It'd be the equivalent of someone who knows Chinese as their native language being given an English textbook. Totally different situation.
If you win, how are you going to use the prize money?
Yeah, so we're going to use this prize money first and foremost to complete a project with NASA where we're going to create ASL modules for their astronomy deck. That means that our scientists are going to film ASL videos about rocketry and all that, have it animated, put onto their space deck, and then kids who come there are going to play games related to that and be able to see themselves as astronauts when they walk into that building. Because right now there's only things that are in English text and language. The second thing is we're going to be launching to 5 new schools with this money. And so that would be a 750 student increase in our user base, and it would allow us to double our revenue from last year.
And is your tool, finished and done?
Yeah.
Or is it still evolving?
No, this tool is finished. We're actually just about to launch in a week or two.
I'm thinking from a teacher's perspective, do I really want to have a software to learn STEM and a software for the basic phonics and a software for this and that and all these different age levels? So how are you guys thinking about creating this software so that it's a one-stop shop for teachers where they can use this K through 12 in teaching ASL?
I'm so glad that you asked that. So on top of having modules for K through 12 that are scaled to different difficulty levels and that address different parts of national curriculum scaled to those grades, we also are going to be expanding into different subjects. We already have deaf scientists who are going to be helping us with social studies, with English, and of course, because we're a literacy-first platform, reading is already an integral part of our mission.
Okay, we all know that the attention span for kids is incredibly small. I wonder, how is this really going to keep people entertained and going? Or are they going to, play with it for a little while and they get completely bored, right?
Yes. So we actually spent the first year and a half doing research on gamified education and the effects it has on the children. So we actually developed 2 types of games. The first is, like you said, very repetitive games, so they get addicted to it. The second is more of like a story-based plot. So we have one that's like a food web. So you become like the animal and you're the, you have to go seek out your prey and you become immersed in that curriculum. So there are 2 types of games that we tested out with the kids, and we made sure that it keeps their attention span and they love it as much as we do.
So you're working with children in K to 12.
Yes.
So what you're teaching a kindergartner is a lot different than what you're going to need to be teaching a 12th grader who's ready to go off to college. How is all of that unique? Each grade is unique. And have you already developed all of it?
Yeah, so in terms of the first question that you asked, we went into the schools, we tested with elementary kids, so there was 1st through 3rd grades, and then we went all the way up to the high school level, and we found that they love the games. Any game that's fun and addicting, it's applicable to K through 12.
Yeah, in terms of the curriculum, so National Generation Science Standards has things all the way from K through 12, but I'm also going to take this as far as to say that deaf students are a whole other range of their own. Right? Because you have students in high school who may be back at the 4th grade level. You have students in middle school who may be back at the kindergarten level. And teachers need that customizability. So they can actually go into our curriculum, see what standards their kids are already meeting, and start them at that level.
So obviously when parents are engaged with any child, but especially a child with special needs, they're very hands-on. How do parents engage with this program as well?
So we did market research for 6 months with both teachers and parents. And when we talked with the parents, they told us they had virtually nothing where they could sit down and help their kids with the science homework. They didn't have anything where they could learn the words, and their kids were also struggling. So what this platform lets them do is they have the dashboard system, and they can actually sit down on their iPad or laptop with their kids, put them in their lap, and start looking at the games with them. So the parents are picking up the signs, the kids are picking up the signs, and all communication is just flowing better.
How many schools do you have to be in to attain profitability?
Yeah, so in 2024, we will only need 4 schools signed on to get us to profitability, and that would be at $270,000.
Okay, that's all the time that we have. Good job today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You're welcome to say hi to the judges.
Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you're done. You're done. How does that feel?
I'm so pumped to be here and so excited. I think we left it all in the room, and we're really excited for the results.
Yeah, in all those weeks of leading up to this and coming in, the lights and camera, how did that feel?
It felt amazing to be able to come and share this story because we're here to speak for these deaf kids, and we have a huge team that I wish could be here with us, and we're grateful to be here.
Well, you guys did a fantastic job today, and we're going to find out in a second who won. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We'll see what's next. We've heard 3 great pitches, and now it's time for the judges to deliberate. Judges, you have a tough decision to make, so good luck. We'll see you soon. Our judges have finished discussing and deliberating. All the teams did a great job. They were really impressed with each of you and your ideas. As you know, all 3 teams will walk away with some money. 3rd place, $2,000, 2nd place, $5,000, and 1st place, $50,000. You guys ready for this? Okay, so I'll announce 3rd place first. Okay, and then 1st place. Okay, so 3rd place, congratulations to Sustainably for winning 3rd place. So it comes down to these 2 teams here. One of them won $50,000, one won $5,000. We're really excited to have everyone on campus. Really hard for our judges. I'm going to announce the overall winner. The overall winner of this year's contest, $50,000, is ASL Aspire. Have that. Congratulations. Woo! Oh my God. Okay, all right, good job, guys. Thank you for tuning into the WashU Olin Big Idea Bounce, powered by Poets Quants. We hope you enjoyed today's program and feel inspired to start your next idea. Up next, stay tuned. John Byrne will interview the winning team.
Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. I'm on the Washington University Olin Business School campus. We have 2 of the 3 co-founders who are big winners. in our Big Idea Bounce competition with WashU Olin. Congratulations, number 1.
Thank you so much.
All right, number 2, we have Mona Jawad, who is the CEO of ASL Aspire, and then we have the Chief Operating Officer, Isha Kazi. So I want to know, how did you come up with this idea, and is there a personal story behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So my brother has hearing loss. He's my teacher, my mentor, my friend. As you know, we were growing up together, his story really inspired me to try and make change for the people just like him. So I decided to do bioengineering as my undergraduate degree. I ended up in a speech and hearing science laboratory, found that I loved the space, and COVID hit. Since I wasn't able to do traditional research, instead I decided to reach out to different deaf educators. And so their idea was where ASL Aspire was born. When I asked them what the biggest problem facing their kids was, they told me across the board that vocabulary was the issue. And so what we wanted to do is find a good way to be able to get that to the kids without making it just another boring dictionary. So we asked the teachers again, what makes your kids light up in class? What really gets them going? And they told us games. They love being on their phones, you know, those kids. And so what we wanted to do is bring those two ideas together and make a digital resource for these teachers to give to their kids.
And now you are pursuing, Mona, a PhD at WashU, right?
Yes, that's right, in speech and hearing science.
And your dissertation is directly related to your startup.
Yes.
Which makes it really helpful, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think I could run it both ways otherwise.
Now, Isha, how did the two of you actually meet?
Yeah, so Mona and I met in Women in Engineering at University of Illinois. She was a bioengineer and I was a computer science student. So we started becoming friends in class, and then she came to me with this, research idea at first, and I was like, of course, I'd love to help build an app. So we had a starting team of 9, and we just built it for nothing. It was just research. We wanted to try it out, see if gamified education works with kids, specifically deaf students and all around. And then from there, we actually got funding, and we were like, okay, we want to take the next step, take it from research and get this product into the hands of the kids. So that's kind of how ASL Aspire was born.
And you are pursuing a master's in computer science.
Yes.
And business management as well at the University of Illinois.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Biggest challenge you had to confront in getting your idea off the ground, what was it?
By far, the biggest challenge was making sure that we were building with the deaf community and not just for them. So the deaf community is, as they should be, so proud and so protective of their beautiful language. And we didn't want to come off as just, these hearing people trying to say that we know better or that we can give it to them. So really what we've done is we've tried to make this a community project. We care about the outcomes for these kids, but there's also their parents and their educators and other deaf adults who should be able to have a say. And so from the moment we started onwards, we've been dedicated to that idea.
Now, Isha, you started out the presentation with sign language.
Yes.
Which kind of blew my mind.
Oh, thank you.
Can you actually do sign language, or that was just for the presentation?
No. So I'm learning ASL right now. Mona's conversational fluent in it. So we take a lot of, we want all of our members to learn it too. It's a beautiful language. It's so fun learning new languages too. So we try to incorporate everyone, make sure it's an inclusive space for our team members.
Now, the entrepreneurial life is not for everyone.
Yes.
How do you know you're made for it and ready for it? And what do your parents think about this?
Yeah, I think if you can keep going after every setback, then you're made for it, because there's going to be so many challenges and so many things that you didn't expect coming up. So as long as you're willing to keep learning and keep going, and you have an idea that you believe in, I think you can make it as an entrepreneur. My parents are super supportive of this.
That's fantastic.
Which I'm so lucky to be able to say, because I know that's not the case for everybody. But yeah, my parents, came with me here to St. Louis for this competition. They've been cheering me on over the phone.
That's great.
I appreciate them a lot.
And your parents are migrated from Iraq.
Yes, that's right.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay, what about your parents? What do they think of this?
My parents are very supportive of this. So
they don't want you to go work for Apple or Microsoft?
So I did work for 1.5 years in the industry, made great software engineering money, and then it just wasn't as satisfying and fulfilling for myself. And so I, conveyed that to my parents, and they were in full support. I'm still, pursuing education on the side to support this, but also they're really supportive. They came with me today, so we drove down from Chicago for this. So it's really exciting.
And your parents migrated here as well?
Yes, my dad is from Pakistan and my mom is from India.
Fabulous. Okay, 50 grand. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
It's a big chunk of change. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, really, the biggest thing for this is that we want to be able to get into more schools.
Yes.
You know, we've started with the 5 beta schools that we've been working with, and now we want to take this and try to double our impact, try to get it to as many kids as need this, you know, around the globe.
So you currently have 300 students in 5 pilot schools.
200, but yeah.
Okay, and then this money is going to help you expand to how many?
5 more schools after that.
5 more schools
Yep.
after that. And basically, you'll have more proof of concept to really
Right.
spread the
Yes.
idea.
Yes.
Exactly.
How scalable is it?
Yeah, so in terms of scalability, the main thing with this community is getting acceptance. So once they start using the app, we've never had a teacher say no to just trying it out, and they need these resources as much as we're the ones developing it. And so I've never, came across a teacher who's like, I don't want to use this. They're always ready to try it. And so in terms of scalability with the teachers in the school market, it's all about word of mouth. The districts listen to the teachers and the administrators about that. So if all goes well, we'll get into the deaf residential schools across America, and it'll spread to the public schools as well.
Well, I think I will close with a statement. We were incredibly impressed with your presentation skills,
Thank you.
the clarity of your words, the way you responded to every hard and easy question. And no doubt you two are the most effective salespeople I've met in my life. And if you two can't sell this idea to one school after another across the United States, I can't imagine anyone who could.
Thank you.
So congratulations, and spend the money wisely, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, this is John Brennan with Poets and Quants, with 2 of the 3 co-founders of ASL Aspire, our winning team.